Hello, this is Rhanar Rants, where nerdiness is praised. Today, I have a real treat for you. I really looked into this, I saw a lot of YouTube videos, and I tried really to get a hold of what I really had. I am, of course, talking about the great game series of Legacy of Kain and Blood Omen. Many people I have seen commenting on these videos always say, "Oh, this is what Twilight should have totally been like." Listen, Twilight is one series that I have not looked at, but Blood Omen and Legacy of Kain. Let me just say, I sort of begin to sympathize with vampires by looking at these games. But let us get started with the first game I ever got my hands upon, Blood Omen 2. You control Kain, a fallen warlord that apparently at one point in history was a human nobleman that got really power hungry. And he sort of wants to conquer this land of Northgard. That really sounds a bit, never mind. Still, he faces a group of fanatical human religious persons called the Sarafan. Actually, a kind of epic name. And he gathers this army and legion of fellow vampires and commands them with his magical unholy sword, the Soul Reaver. A vampire that sucks blood and has a sword that sucks souls. That is lame, but I should not be the one to talk. My avatar has something called a Wraith Blade. Yeah, long story short, I am not good at writing my own character stories. Well, anyway, on with the review. They meet the Sarafan Lord, the only one of the Sarafan who apparently can afford to buy completely golden armor. And he, for some reason, happens to kill Kain, this very powerful vampire with the soul-devouring blade. And Kain somehow just falls off a cliff going, "Ah!" down into a large pit of fire that just all of a sudden emerges. And I suspected a vampire to have sort of glowing red eyes or something like that, but he has glowing white eyes. Okay, fine. Give a point for creativity. And we start the game by finding Kain on his bed and apparently just lying there and having slept for over maybe 200 years, when the eye candy of the game comes in, the female vampire Uma, who really enjoys the color purple as her entire outfit seems to be made of the color. And for a female vampire, it could use a bit more armor and not so... Look, I do not want to anger any kind of fellow fans, but her outfit sort of reminds me of a tad more decent armor of Ivy of Soul Calibur. Okay, please do not hate me for that. Please do not hate me for that. But Omen starts to train you, and you spend the most of the game just running around this large, great city and discovering some conspiracy with the Sarafan and some old rival race, the vampires, so-called Hilden. And you find that vampires were at one time so-called good guys. They were divine, they were angelic, they were divine beings. And now they have been degenerated to bloodlusting creatures that roam the night and sucks the blood of everything living. And in the game, I never really killed any civilians, no matter how low my life was. And I know I am supposed to suck every bit of blood, but really, if blood is something that gives you magical abilities, honestly, would a peasant girl give me any kind of magical abilities? Besides, I would be very, very, very creeped out by having a young girl's blood running in these veins. On Kain's veins, but he is a bloodthirsty, heartless beast, so... yeah. He has his manners, so... I almost could consider him a form of badass Dracula or Alucard. But also, I have to say, Kain's first attire is basically an armed gauntlet and shoulder plate or something of leather. Very large, it looks as if it is something that an eagle is supposed to land on. And we proceed for the game. At first you just encounter these basic Sarafan soldiers. They are somewhat easy to deal with. Then you meet Sarafan Knights, and they have more armor, they have more cruel weapons that looks like a very freaking large axe instead of a sword. And then you discover glyph guards or glyph soldiers that have this shining golden armor. paladins, anyone. And then we meet the Glyph Knights. Very large and bulky, with red instead of blue colors, the Saravan elite. And they also look like freaking paladins, and I need to be honest, red on their capes and on their headpieces, and glowing golden. If you just added the Scarlet Crusade tabard to them, you could use them as enemies in World of Warcraft. Yeah, on to the point. Kain meets the Seraphim Lord again, and he is really ticked off. So despite the advice of all his friends, he tries and kill him. But the Seraphim Lord just goes, I have not seen you in a while, what are you doing here? I'm here to come and kill you. And, of course, Kain is trying to jump to the attack, and the Seraphim Lord just goes, whoosh. Yeah, he basically whacks him off. And before Kain can try any more idiotic tricks, Uma is wise enough to just say, we are going to get out of here and we come back when we are stronger. No, we cannot do that. I want my revenge. But she just goes, and they are back at their main headquarters, with the oldest and wisest of the vampires. Although, I think Kain at one point called him a hedonist. I do not know what that means, but I have a feeling that Vorador, as he is supposed to be called, I have not found myself in a situation where I could say this, but apparently Vorador was really the ladies' man when the vampire's curse did not make them sterilized. That is actually what I enjoy. Because the fandom out there will have real trouble explaining how a sterilized vampire, male or female, could try and make caboodle, so to speak. So at least that saves that part of the idiotic fandom that sometimes appears. But really, on with the game. They find out what the Saravan Lord is up to. He is apparently one of these Hilden, the ancient enemies of the vampires. And he is aiming to bring his army from the demonic realm where they rest now into this world of Nosgoth. And he sort of has already made a portal that they can step through. But Kain has a magical stone, Nexus Stone I think it is called, and he used that stone back in the past to block the Soul Reaver from killing him. And I need to ask, a freaking magical stone. Okay, granted, magical stones can be powerful, but stopping a soul-devouring blade? And I think if Kain knew about it back then, I think he would just do some kind of combat technique, just going, okay, you are protected from the stone, I will just use my claw, snatch the stone, and then just go... Well, yeah, but he did not know. So actually the Seraphim Lord sort of cheated, so I can understand why Kain is very angry. But the game proceeds, and at a point, Uma gets so suspicious about Kain being so power-hungry that she actually snatches the stone from him. And he really gets angry. And I know he usually speaks very formally, but in this case you can really hear the growling anger in his voice rising. So he sort of finds Uma, and she has been mortally injured by the Saravan soldiers. And instead of just healing her or trying to help her, he just goes slash with his claws and kills her off. And well, she sort of stole the thing from him, so apparently she's a traitor, so Kain just kills all traitors. You have also encountered a few very powerful vampires through the games that have switched sides, or some of those confused, and Kain has killed them off, gaining their abilities. But you finally meet the Seraphim, or the Hilden Lord. And he is not so amused by seeing you. So you sort of fight him, and if you discover the right technique, you can sort of beat him quite quickly. And then Janos Ordrin, a quite epic-looking vampire, appears. Sort of aquamarine, green skin, black hair, black wings, feathery wings, not this webbed arm crap you have seen on other vampires, but real freaking wings. But then again, he is a more than millennium-old vampire, so yeah, I actually respect Janos on many points because he is actually a thinking being. He does not just go, oh, I want my blood, or bring my blood to me. But really, Janus gets thrown off the platform on which you battle, and I really do not hope he dies. But, well, you kill off the Hilden or Seraphim Lord, and you see Kain just walking away from a building, monologuing about, if Uma had known that I would turn out like this, maybe she would not have turned traitorous. You ask me, Uma, how Norskars would difference from my rule than the Seraphans. Had you not been a traitor, you could have seen it. You could have been my queen. Kain has not shown an affection for her at any point in the game before. I do not even know if a freaking douche can understand affection. He treats his allies like dirt and he is not swayed at one point. Well, he feels sort of pity for some of his fallen lieutenants that he has to kill, at least one of them. But, yeah. Kain is sort of a heartless beast. But, you have to admit he is sort of badass. Well, that was all I really had for now, but for the rating. It has good graphics, good gameplay, and I actually enjoy the control. It is not something that you are stuck in one position, but it really feels like you can only turn this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, or this way. But you can learn the controls. It is not that good, so... well, the storyline is good. It is brilliant. I think that is the driving force of this game. But, yeah, what can we give it? It also has a few good puzzles. So, you know what, folks? This is a win-win for me. I give it 5 stars out of 5. Okay, if you thought this game was epic, I would really recommend you tune in next time. Because then we are going for Soul Reaver mateys. This has been Rhanar, and I have been reviewing this game very confidently because I love it. And until next time, keep it metal.